Social networking sites like Facebook and MySpace have become hugely popular with adults, so it's really no surprise that kids want to get into the act as well. Well, joining us now is Lance Ulanoff, editor-in-chief of PCMag.com, to help us figure out what sites are best for kids and what safety features parents should be looking for. And we're glad to have you in the studio. Thanks for coming in.
Here, sure.
So there are a lot of social networking sites for kids now that are actually almost like virtual communities.
Yes, exactly.
And some of them are really popular with kids right now. Tell us about some of those and what they're like.
One of the most popular right now is Club Penguin. Club Penguin, which is owned by Disney, is enormously popular, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You're a penguin, and like most of these social networking sites for kids, you get a character, you get to dress it up, you get to have a place to live, and you get to interact with other people within the network. It's not free. It's about $5 a month. If you want to use it for free, you don't get any money to really buy anything and add to your world. Right, and that's part of the fun. These kids will spend hours building their rooms, and then they interact and they talk to each other, and it's very entertaining.
And you were actually just on Elf Island, you said.
I was on Elf Island. Now, Elf Island is a relatively new environment. It's very weird because it actually has what's called sort of this mirrored environment, mirrored gaming. And all that means is if you do something in the virtual world, it could happen in the real world.
Which is very cool.
They're trying to help children be more eco-aware, so plant a tree in the virtual world, plant it in the real world. I went on and I became a character, which people will know now. It's called Lancelot. That's one of my favorite names.
I'm going to go look for Lancelot.
And I dressed him up, and this is what you do. You get involved with how the character looked. There are limitations. So, they're not exactly real. But then you sort of go right away and build your home and start putting things in it. I had money as soon as I started. Now that environment was free, but it's in beta, so we don't know what's going to happen when it switches.
I was actually on there as well and built a home and put furniture in. It's a lot of fun. And you're giving back at the same time. And there are others like quickly just Webcarzz. Nickelodeon.
Right, and Nickelodeon, of course, is owned by Nickelodeon, and it's been around for a long time, and involves, of course, the environment that you're familiar with and visiting areas that might relate to shows, and similar to each one of these ones, it lets you be some character and then interact almost immediately.
And how old should you be? How old should your child be before you actually sign them up?
That's a hard question to answer. I'll tell you something. You feel like maybe it's 10, maybe it's 12, and then maybe it's 18. But the key is the first time your children go on these sites, you need to be sitting right next to them. And a lot of them encourage you to do so because they require parental permission to get on.
Which is great.
Which is great, but there are caveats to that too. I could go on, for example, I went on Elf Island as a child because that's what I wanted to see. I said, can you game the system? I lied about my age, I lied about everything, I created a different email address and I got on. And that's something parents have to be aware of. If they're going to let their children on any of these environments, especially if they're free, they don't know who their children are interacting with. So if you're going to choose one of the controls that you like to have, make sure the other people are paying. They have to give their credit card number.
Oh, I see. So let's talk about some safety measures for a second, because I know on some of these sites kids are allowed to chat with other members. So what safety measures should parents be looking for when they go in to help their kids sign up?
Well, read the terms of service. All of them have extensive terms of service, and they also will say right up front what are the ground rules. And the ground rules on these kid-friendly social interaction sites is very clear and very strict. What you can say, what you can do, the kinds of conversation you can have, the moderation is there. If you do something outside those rules, you get bounced very quickly.
Okay, and so safety, though, begins at home. So what should parents be doing in the house to make sure the kids are safe? I know there's certain places you should have your computer.
Right, exactly. That's a central location for that computer. Please, please don't, just because you can deliver internet to every room in the house doesn't mean you put a computer in Junior's room with the internet going and leave them to the computer. You can't do that. Put it in the central part of the home. You're not actually going to be standing over their shoulders all the time, but just the fact that you're there and they can see you and they're kind of talking about what's happening, it's going to protect them. And something will pop up, for example, someone will ask them a question, you know, age, sex, location, ASL, you know, they'll ask them that, what is this, mommy? And you say, okay, you're off that or ignore that. Right.
Yeah, and you can actually lock some sites or
right.
choose
Well,
sites where they can.
That's the next part, because part of the way to protect your children is through software, through controls. Now, if you're running Microsoft Windows Vista, it has built-in parental controls that you can set. They're pretty good, but they're also a little thin. There's not a tremendous amount of depth. There are a couple of other products that are really powerful. NetNanny, for example, is by far the best parental control software on the market today, and it lets you do everything from filtering out websites, filtering out all instant messaging, to also watching what your children are doing and even alerting you if they go outside certain preset boundaries. You know, when children and preteens and teens are talking online, sometimes they're talking in code, they're sharing information, they say where they live. You could tell the program to watch for all of those things and even email you an alert at the office when things have gone awry online.
Lance, great information. Thank you so much for coming in, making us aware of all this. Appreciate it. All right, for more internet safety tips, you can go to pcmag.com. Thanks for watching Parents TV, and we'll see you again soon.